Hi, I'm Dr. Rodney Mogen. I'm a NAFA, National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisor member out of Austin, Texas, and proud member for the last 12 years. I have a doctorate in financial planning and also a doctorate in business administration. I work mostly with business owners and really what I call Main Street individuals in helping them plan for their retirement. These are the individuals that I think the DOL and even more importantly, Reg BI or Regulation Best Interest by the SEC are trying to address and really trying to help. However, some of the new rules that the DOL, Department of Labor, is proposing actually will hurt those individuals. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit about how it will hurt. But first of all, let's talk about Regulation BI by the Securities and Exchange Commission. This was a much needed and long overdue rule change by the SEC. For many years, and I've been in business for over 22 years, it has been a know thy client. And a lot of people don't really understand what know thy client rule is, but that best interest standard has really clarified it and really made it very, very clear of how I am supposed to work with my client, how I am supposed to educate my client, but also how the company is supposed to make the forms the right way, inform me, do some specific trainings, and more importantly, how my compliance officer can communicate with me in a clear and concise manner, but also make sure that I know what I'm doing when I'm working with my clients. I have always operated in the best interest of my clients, but now these rules actually put an even playing field for all advisors under the Reg BI standard. This is extremely important because it's not just if I'm focused on retirement, but it's for all my actions, whether it's life insurance, disability, it's retirement, annuities, it's for everything. And so it really has a more unified standard with that rather than having a specific standard for retirement versus another standard for something else, because now we get into rule violations where one standard might say I need to do something, but something else says I need to do it a different way. And then now I've got a confliction of, well, which one am I going to break in other words, or which one am I not going to follow? And that makes it very confusing for the client, makes it very confusing for the advisor. It also makes it very confusing for the compliance officer and the company. The way the DOL has really kind of put some of these rules out there, they're going to, by using the name fiduciary has a whole different meaning out in the field or out in the industry. While we all know that fiduciary really talks about being in the best interest, however, being in the best interest is being a fiduciary and making the right decisions. However, when you put that word fiduciary on, advertisement, on marketing, on different things like that, then that brings a whole level of compliance and a whole level of regulation within the industry that my E&O carrier will not allow me to do. I'd have to go out and get specific E&O because the term fiduciary, while it has one meaning, maybe through in government or maybe in the public, in our industry, fiduciary means that I have assets, that I'm holding assets, that I am a custody of it, and then I am making actual decisions for my client. Most broker dealers, most E&O carriers, in fact, all E&O carriers will not allow that. It has to be done through a broker dealer level or through what's called a registered investment advisor level. Even though I am an RIA, I am still with a broker dealer. Thus, it actually takes that away from me from doing that. But more importantly, the very people that you are probably trying to protect with these new rules will actually be harmed by it. And here's how they will be harmed by it. The first way is if I am forced to call myself a fiduciary, I will have a heightened level of compliance, which means my costs will go up. Now, this is not necessarily always the best argument, but because my costs will go up, the type of people I can work with, I now have to look at a higher level of clientele because now they can have to be able to afford my higher fees. They have to be able to afford some of these other different situations. So now the people that I've really been helping all my life, I've actually got to tell them I can't work with you anymore and I can't take their referrals. And they're probably the people that need the most help. Most of my average accounts are $250 to $500,000, but I'd say about 60% of my clients have 100 to 250,000 in retirement and investable assets when they come to me. We help grow it, we work with it. This is the second reason how they would get harmed. If we went with that fiduciary and we actually went with a fee only model, I would not really even be able to open up accounts, because most fee only systems over the last 4 to 5 years have a minimum, at the very minimum, of 250,000, but most companies are pushing those to 500,000. So now my whole client model, I really wouldn't be able to help. And at $100,000, charging them a fee isn't going to make a whole lot of sense. In fact, with best interest, it actually makes better sense to put them into an A-share mutual fund. And I'm a numbers guy, so let me just give you a numerical example. Let's say that we have someone at $100,000. They come to me. I'm working with them. I will, in their best interest, I will actually show them both accounts, show them both options. But the fee option, it probably going to be charging 1.5% to 2% total cost each year for the entire life of their account. That means about $2,000 a year, and it will grow with the account. Here is, if I put them into A shares, yes, I'm going to get a commission for doing so. I'm going to get 3.5% upfront because I will hit what's called break points, and that's actually cheaper for the client. So I'll get a $3,500 in the first year. True. But the annual management fee is generally about 0.5 a year. So about another $500. So after 2 years in that fee account, I'm break even for that client with what's actually in the mutual funds. So by the third year, it's more expensive and out of the best interest for the client to be in that fee account than it is to be in A-share mutual funds in that particular situation. So having a blanket rule is actually hurting the exact clients you and the exact individuals you are probably trying to protect. The biggest thing with this is taking away our choice and being able to actually show clients the different options and the different things are also going to actually, and this is the third way they can be harmed, it's going to limit the advisors they can talk to. Most advisors are going to go with higher limits. Other advisors that do work in this market, they're going to not be able to service them as much. But also, maybe that trusted advisor that client has had for 15 years may not have all the licenses to comply with these rules, but they don't want to meet someone new. They want to work with that advisor. Well, they won't be able to. So by doing these different rules, you're actually taking that client away from someone they trust, someone they want to work with. And so you're actually forcing the choice onto that client. And then the fourth and final way that some of these rulings and using the term fiduciary will harm the very clients you're going after is, in my mind and in the industry's mind, and if you look at the regulatory bodies of the SEC and FINRA, a fee-based account is really set up to be able to do what's called active trading or active management. Yet, most advisors that have switched to this fee-only model still believe in the hold and set model. So they are actually not doing any active trading or any active management, maybe rebalancing every 1 or 2 years. So really, they're getting paid just to let the money sit there. It would be better for that client if they were in A shares, where you're probably not going to do that actively trading, and then the advisor's getting paid a lot less because of that. But this fee-based model, advisors get paid more doing it by not get paid more without doing as much. And so those are some of the biggest concerns I have on the DOL coming up with some of these new rulings.